Hi Nixters, welcome again to the Nixter Davos channel. The topic tonight is karma. Okay. We already talked about reincarnation and we said it is derived from the word samskara, which is a process of rebirth. This time we're going to talk about karma. In karma, it is actually the explanation of cause and effect. Everything that happens around us is just a reaction to our actions. So that is karma. If there is gravity in the physical world, karma is the counterpart in the spiritual world. Whatever we do, whatever we think, however we act, we always have a consequence. We can compare that to Newton's law, which says for every action there's an equal but opposite reaction. So that is how karma works. So it's basically just cause and effect. It's not a system of reward or punishment, but it is more of an action and reaction, depending on you taking ownership over what you have done or whatever you have thought of. If you think that you did not really intend to do something, then there is no karmic effect attached to it. Okay? For example, you were driving and then suddenly a cat crosses the street and we can call it an accident. You bump that cat and that cat dies. In that instance, there was no intention. Okay, there was no intention to kill the cat. So there is no ownership and therefore there will be no karmic consequence. Okay? However, if you plan to really kill the cat, okay, then that will be there will be a karmic consequence. Okay? Now, it's very important to know the basic rules of karma. Okay? First, that we should remember is that karma, as I've said earlier, is simply cause and effect. Okay? And in several radio and television programs, I've said that what we do is what we call dharma. Okay? And karma is the consequence. So if we do good, that's dharma. If we do bad, that's adharma. And the effect will be karma. Okay? Karma has, to simplify, it has three parts. One is what we call the summation of all the things you have done or thought about in the past, including your past lifetimes, that you will have to resolve now and in the future. If I'm not mistaken, it is called, it slips my mind now, but suffice it to say that, I think that's the word. Okay. Shitsaya or something like that. Okay. So that's the first part. Now, whatever we do in this present lifetime will have consequences in the future. And the consequences of that is also called, I think, Kriyamana Karma. Kriyamana Karma. And the portion of our lifetime now that we have to answer for is known as karma, something like that. Okay, so anyway, I'll be posting it here. So just remember that the sum of all our actions and thoughts in the past, in our past lives, will have a consequence now and in the future. So the summation is called this kind of karma. Okay? Now the consequence of what we're going to do now in the future is also called this. And what we are resolving now, the portion of the entire summation, is known as this. Okay? So that is karma. Now there are certain rules in karma that we have to remember. First, cause and effect. Okay, and we have said that because whatever we do and think will always have a consequence to us. It's like like a bowl of gelatin. If you push it, it will bounce back. Okay, so that is the effect of karma. Get it? The second is the so-called creation or law of creation. Nothing happens by chance. If you want something, you have to act on it. You have to do something. Okay? You can't just sit back and expect a result. You have to act on it. Okay? Because what happens to our environment is a result of what we are inside. We mirror the environment, and the environment mirrors us. So we'll always remember that. If we have a bad environment at home, then that's simply the consequence of our state of mind, what we have or what we are doing now. Okay, if our environment is good, it's also the result of what we are doing now. So let us say you don't clean your room. If you don't clean your room, necessarily you may have some illness. Okay, that's the consequence. So you are reflecting the environment. Okay, so that's the second law of creation. The third, law of humility. In the law of humility, you have to accept what is happening around you for you to go above it. If you know that something is bad or negative, the acceptance of something that is bad or negative in your life makes you realize that it is not bad. Okay? It's like a contradiction in terms. You have to know that something is bad for you to conquer it or overcome it. Okay? So remember that concept of humility. You have to accept what's happening around you so that you will not be part of it. Okay? The fourth law of karma is what we call law of growth. Do not blame others, blame yourself. Whatever you do or think, you will be answerable for that. You cannot control what others will do or think. You can only control what you do or think. So for you to grow, you have to change yourself. That's why there is what we call as within, so without. Okay? Fifth law of karma is the so-called law of responsibility. Do not pinpoint to others. You have to take ownership of what you do. If, let us say, you open the door and somebody is behind the door and that person suffers a bruise because you suddenly open the door, you will be responsible for that if you intended it. But if you did not intend it because you did not know that somebody is behind that door, you will not be answerable for that. However, if let's say you should first knock or you don't just open the door, then that will be an act of ownership of your action. Therefore, you will be answerable for that. Okay? Sixth law of karma is the so-called law of connection. We are all connected. No matter how small, no matter how big, we are all connected to each other. That's why there is this saying, no man is an island. Whatever you do to the least of your brethren, you do it unto me. Isn't that in the Bible? So, the law of connection is very important. If you want to do something, it will have a consequence because we are all related, we are all interconnected. That's why even in science, we have the prey and the predator, right? It's part of the ecosystem. One depends on the other. The seventh law of karma is the so-called law of focus. You have to focus. If you want to be spiritual, if you want to elevate your psychic consciousness, you have to rise above the mundane, the terrestrial concerns. That's why there are people who go ascetic, or there are monks, or even, yeah, the Buddhist monks who shun away from temporal lives. They give up a lot of things. Even the priests, I mean, the real good ones, there's they have to forego the benefits of temporal life. That's why in the film Saint Francis of Assisi, he had to shed off everything because that is temporal for him to be able to rise in spirituality. If you focus on anger or greed, nothing will happen. You will not be able to think above it because you are in that mold. You are in that situation where there's so much hatred in your life. Okay? But if you remove that, okay, then you can think more clearly. That is the law of focus. Number 8 is the so-called law of giving and hospitality. Okay, what does this mean? You will be accountable for the truth that you believe in. You have to not only think of the good things, but you have to act in a good way also. And when you start giving and understanding others, becoming more compassionate, then it will come back. Okay? That's why there's the saying also, it's better to give than to receive. Okay? Another law is the so-called law of here and now. We cannot control the past. It's useless to regret about the past because it will not come back while we are in the physical world. And why worry about the future? The future has not happened yet. So, why worry about the past? Why regret about what you've done? Why think about the future? Just think of the here and now, and you act on the here and now. Okay? That's law of karma again. Okay? The 10th law of karma is the law of change. You know, history repeats itself. You have to accept the consequences of everything. And when certain things happen in our lives, it's because we have to learn something from it. Okay? If we do not learn, it will come back to us. History repeats itself for us to learn new lessons. Okay? And then, the next is the law of patience and reward. In the law of patience and reward, small things that you do will become great someday. You just have to be patient with it. That's why if you work hard for something and persevere towards it, the reward is so great and you feel so much benefited, right? But if something just comes to you as a windfall, you don't really appreciate it. The reward is not so much. That's why people who exerted so much effort, who really put their blood, sweat, and tears in things that they do, will find it very hard to let go, right? But if something just comes to you, handed to you without any effort, it's so easy to let it go. It's so easy to splurge money that you just inherited. But if you work hard for that money, it's so hard to just dispose of it, right? Again, that's because of the law of patience and reward. So what should you do? Enjoy. Just enjoy what you're doing now because the reward will come later on. Just continue to do the good things because later on the rewards will be very great. And the last law of karma is the law of significance and inspiration. No matter how little something is, it can become great if you continue doing it. Okay? But because you're creating an energy, the more effort you give, the more the rewards will be to you. If you just sit around and not do anything, there will be not much reward, right? So, remember that all of these 12 laws of karma, are universal truths, and they don't just apply to Hindus, or let us say to the Jainism practitioners, or the Sikhs, or the Taoists, but they're universal. Today we have come across the so-called law of attraction, which is nothing but a repeat of ancient truths, and that is what we call karma. Okay? So I hope you learned again something today, and probably I'll have a Filipino version for this. Okay? So again, thank you for liking us. Just continue to subscribe, like, and share. Light, love, and life. Namaste.